Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back, folks, to Off the Ropes. I'm your main man, Kane, the Super Hot Snooker, and I got my man from Nolans over here, the Faded Saint. But we're going to talk to you a little bit out of character right now, only because before we get into our whole purpose of today's podcast, which is WWE Payback and the future of WWE, we do want to actually take a moment here just to talk about what I consider one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Who broke a lot of barriers, who did a lot for the business, and have had some slippery slopes, of course, with this business, and got her to where her is today. And we're talking about China, also known as, in this case, Jody Laurer. And she started out as this fantastic bodyguard, as Shawn Michaels and Triple H was notoriously good to do with bringing people in as their henchmen bodyguards, and in this case, she unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago, and we just feel like we should talk about this real quick before we get into Payback, about how she influenced our entertainment in WWE, and mostly how she influenced us. I know for one thing, she was very impressive to me. Her power, her prowess. One of my favorite matches of all time, even though it was completely screwed up and botched from Jeff Jarrett, was her victory for the Intercontinental title. The fact that she was the very first woman to really own and possess an actual title, defend it, and do well with it, other than just vaguely get one like the Hardcore title. I believe a female wrestler had that once and just because it was during that 24/7 rule. This was a legitimate thing. She even had a feud with Chris Jericho with it, and I just embraced, and it was very powerful for me. So I figured I would share that with the class today before we get going. What about you, Fade Sane? Do you have anything about China?
Well, it's always a shame when we lose somebody so pivotal to the era that we really got into wrestling, the Attitude Era. And it's like you said, she was the first woman to ever compete in the Royal Rumble. She was the first woman to ever win the Intercontinental Belt. She wrestled with the boys. She wrestled with the girls. And it's really a shame whenever you lose anyone as young as she was. She was, I want to say she was only 40. She was in her 40s. She was not that much older than me.
No, yeah.
And apparently she had a lot of problems and a lot of demons, and she never truly escaped them. It's also a shame that this is going to be, that, it's going to take this to get her into the Hall of Fame, but, at least now she can have her rightful place where she belongs as one of the pioneers of the women's division. And just because of China is one of the reasons why I'm so hard on the women's division today, because of how much they stepped back from when China was in the division. But with that said, it sucks, It sucks that we'll never get to see her come home like we've gotten to see some of the other superstars of the past year. But our condolences go out to her friends and her family. And she will be missed. And
we definitely want to say here, in many ways, that we have in full confidence that WWE will bring her to the Hall of Fame. And we have firm suspicions that the reason why she wasn't in already was mostly due to her mistrust in the industry, and how they want to avoid a on-screen catastrophe of her on the mic, possibly berating anybody like Hunter or anybody that's on their roster now that she would had beef with. So unfortunately, her silence came with the casket, but we will obviously see her in the Hall of Fame. She deserves it. There is nothing that she did differently than a lot of wrestlers that have already in the Hall of Fame that's considered iffy. So a lot of people say, well, she did Playboy, she was in porn. Yeah, you know what? You'd be surprised who did what at one point in their lives. You know, we have drug addicts, we have alcoholics, and we also have people that are on there that obviously did such listings already in the industry like that. So let's be concise, and hopefully that will happen. But you know what, folks? It's time for the big issue right here, and it's time for WWE Payback. And I can tell you this much: it was a refresher. Usually it's difficult to get after a pay-per-view right after WrestleMania. Last year it was Extreme Rules, and it was blah as blah could be. But Payback, my man, Faded Saint, what we got going on? What's happening with this pre-cooker?
Well, we started off with Payback 2016 with the real Dolph Ziggler, the Bumpmaster 3000 himself, versus, oh shit, it's Tyler Breeze Jr. And, you know, for those of you who do follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, you know that every time I see Baron Corbin come out, immediately I have to send out there, oh shit, it's Boring Corbin. But he is no longer Boring Corbin. No, because my brother pointed out to me, this was an alright match, but this continues to be just freaking baffling ass booking. I don't understand it. Like, they want him to be a monster. That's what they're going for, right? That's what they want. Am I missing that?
I was going for some Mad Max looking kind of shit going on, but I know that it wasn't anything good because you know what? I don't know about you, but I know that I love the joke, and I know you got a quote that I want you to share with us that you've been telling me about. But I gotta tell you this much. My God, what kind of win did Dolph Ziggler needed over this guy? You could have if you wanted to get a superstar rise bone up, they should have goddamn gave him the win. That's how I look at it. But you know what? I digress.
But this has been his MO. His debut match on Raw after WrestleMania was against Dolph Ziggler, and it was a double countout. I think he had a no contest with Zack freaking Ryder a couple of weeks ago, and you know he goes to the pre-cook. He sits there, he goes in, and he gets beaten by way of schoolboy. To Dolph Ziggler. Literally the guy that jobs to everyone. And just like my brother said, he said, when we were talking about this, because my brother, as we are recording this, he's watching Payback for the first time, and he pointed out that Boring Corbin is Tyler Breeze Jr., and the reason why is because at least when Tyler Breeze came up into the roster, he got a win before they buried him.
A W.
He got a W. Guess who doesn't have a W against Dolph Ziggler? Guess who they just spent the entirety of the WrestleMania lead up from there to here with him beating the crap out of Dolph Ziggler and giving him end of days on the outside, and he still, with a neck injury, could not beat Dolph Ziggler. That is.
Well, you know what?
And you know what?
Folks,
you know what?
I gotta say this much. Hold on now, saying before you even pop that. I know you're doing it. Put it down. Save it for that women's title match. Save it for the worst thing ever that could have ever happened. Ever. Let me just point out something real quick now. It seems to be a tradition for Dolph Ziggler to win against a heel and then get bitched about it afterwards. Because if you don't remember last year, the infamous Kiss My Arse match against him and Sheamus in the exact for pay-per-view returning after WrestleMania.
Yeah, but Corbin didn't even get recourse. Not even the next night.
It will happen.
It may happen, but he didn't even get recourse. He just stood there just like he did on Raw the next night. And he just stood there like a freaking zombie, like he could not believe that he just got beat. He was just like, whoa.
He got did. So.
And what was the point of bringing him up? Like, did you really, WWE, did you really bring Boring Corbin up so that he could job to Dolph Ziggler? Yeah, you know what? Let's just move on. This is just.
I think so.
And
let's
next,
go on to the most useless thing in the world now.
The U.S. title match was the other match on the pre-cook, which is Rey Mysterio Jr. versus the pre-show stopper Fake Goldberg. And now I use that intentionally and I didn't catch this, but I've been reading some reports, and apparently Ryback went out on the pre-show, and on his weight belt, he had the pre-show stopper on it. I didn't catch that. And if you saw the match at WrestleMania pre-cook, it's basically the same match. I mean...
All I know, folks, is that John Cena did all that work for nothing.
And you see, and this leads us into two quick things we're going to digress on. Number one, apparently, after this match, Ryback was sent home.
Yes.
Ryback was apparently sent home because he takes issues with the fact that the losers and the winners are paid differently. If you win a match, you get paid more than the loser, but this is a predetermined sport. Fair freaking point. He goes on to say in a post that he made that he basically, the jobbers, you get labeled a jobber, and then you sit there and you lose credibility with fans, you lose your drawing power, and then eventually you get released. So you're in constant fear from your job, and all you're doing is what you're told. And he pointed out he's never changed the finish to a match. He's always gone out there and done exactly what he was told. I have to kind of agree with him here.
He worked the card.
He did what he was told, and I can understand his frustration. And I didn't know the losers and winners got paid differently. But that's kind of fucked up if that's the truth.
I tell you the truth, I honestly thought they were paid based on their stardom.
Maybe.
Like if you're a heel, you could still be a hated heel and get a good stardom route. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I'm a little contentual based on how Ryback's going about this, because they get an annual contract service. They don't get paid by the match like back in the day did. So here's the thing, folks. There is a ranking out there for the highest paid to the lowest paid WWE wrestler. And, of course, you got your tops up there like Taker, John Cena, and all that. And you got the mid-cards like Ryback and all them. But they're categorized based on their stardom, based on their approach on the WWE business. So I can't see, like, for example, if Dolph Ziggler is paid $300,000 a year, which I'm probably severely understroking his check. But if, he takes all these bumps and then gets a win over fucking Baron Corbin, he doesn't go back to the office and say, Vince, where's my extra $200,000 for beating Baron Corbin on pre-cook? He goes, well, you're going to get that no matter if you won against Baron Corbin or not.
It just seems a little shady. Like, I understand, like, if you're being paid by your place, but if you're being played because you're the loser in a match versus the winner in a match, and this isn't UFC, yo. It's not like you can go out there and you can win the match, and you go out there and we're all adults here. Let's not pretend this isn't something. This is something that it isn't. It is what it is, and I can understand it. But that also leads me to my second point. Did you know that this past week a DVD dropped from WWE Entertainment? It's called the U.S. Championship: A Legacy of Greatness. And you want to guess who is? Yeah, it has a bunch of people on it, but you want to guess who's front and center on the frickin' front of the box? I'll give you a hint. You can't beat him.
Can you not see him either?
You cannot see him.
John Cena.
And I honestly did. As I do, I was going on to WWE.com. And I was getting, pictures, which I'm using here for the podcast, which I use for the YouTube, and I just see this here, and it's just like, let me get this straight: you release a U.S. Championship DVD, and your U.S. Championship has been pre-cooked for the last 3 pay-per-view. Pre-cooked. We just came up with a term right there. If you are on defending your title on a freaking pre-show, you have been pre-cooked. I mean,
that tastes good.
By the way, Raymond Stereo Jr. defeats Fake Goldberg, Selena Del Sol or something. Like I said, if you saw the other match, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and also let's talk about this, folks, real quick. Just imagine if Ryback did one and then get sent home. How'd that feel?
Oh, I guarantee you that he was bringing this shit up backstage, and that's why he ended up losing.
I think Vince is like seriously shitting his pants on who gets these belts because I swear to God, if he still thinks that he has the U.S. title lose to Ryback and then Ryback the next day is on TNA, he's got more suspicions on himself than he's got think coming. Because they back in the day where it was just like live action, I think he's the only show that's live now. I don't even think any of them are live.
No,
ROH is pre-recorded,
no, they're all pretty
TNA
much
is
pre-recorded.
pre-recorded. Yeah, so what is he worried about? Come on.
TNA is near bankruptcy, but we'll get to that later. And that brings us to both the pay-per-view proper and perhaps the most oh my god thing I've seen on a pay-per-view for a while. And the pay-per-view,
Sad panda.
yeah, the pay-per-view started off properly with Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudeville. Actually, the pay-per-view started off with the New Day coming out and cutting a promo. And then we got the intro, and then we got Enzo and Cass, which Enzo like dropped his microphone coming out. And then they come out and they do their thing. And the Vaudevillains come out. And they have a good about 5 minutes. Now, before we get into that, what just happened, I would just like to say, I really and honestly thought that this was going to be a match on Raw, and then they were going to defend at the pay-per-view. What's the deal there?
It's so weird. I think they were just gonna have this one. You know what I was thinking, folks? Here's what I'm thinking is going on here, and this is what my predilections are before we even get into what happened. But I thought that once I found out that it was actually gonna happen at this pay-per-view, that whoever won, who we would believe who would won, which I would have believed it would have been Enzo and Cass, they would have had a moment of a good 3 weeks of really showing a tit for tat between the New Day and Enzo and Cass when it comes to their Big Shot Mike promo sour. So I think that was what was going to happen, and then of course we would have had the match at Extreme Rules. But who knows?
But then what happened, and
Yeah, about that.
again, I'm gonna switch gears, and I'm gonna go back to serious. We were all chatting, me and Kane / Joe here. We were chatting during the pay-per-view, and
As a matter of fact, before we go any further, we actually made a messenger group chat dedicated to wrestling off the ropes talk, and we had a few people in there, and of course we were all like, yeah, we're doing it. Oh, what just happened?
yeah, I legit thought he was dead. I swear to God, like the way he in just completely fast motion, and the way he hit, and the way he rebounded, and the way he just collapsed on the outside, and he was knocked out with his eyes open. I thought he was legit dead, and like everything stopped. And there was that weird moment where everyone was like, "Oh, is this part of the match? Damn, Enzo's like selling this to the nines." And then the referee threw up the X.
Yeah, well, folks, if you don't know, X means that there's no contest, they can't continue, and it's definitely off the card at this point.
Well, yeah, if the referee's throwing up the X, somebody's legit hurt. They threw the match out to the no contest. We found out the next night that it was awarded to the Vaudevillains. By way of Enzo and Cass not being able to continue. We are happy to report that it was just a severe concussion.
Severe.
Nothing was broken. He was not paralyzed. He had range of his full extremities. He just knocked himself out really, really nastily.
I'm just glad that he didn't knock Owen Hart off the list of last time someone died at a pay-per-view.
Oh God, thank God. I will say this much. I don't know how much Enzo is at fault here, because he seemed a little jacked up when he came out, and he was wrestling a little wonky. He seemed a little. I'm not sure if it was just. I'm pretty sure what it was is that he was just super excited to be on his first pay-per-view, he just nerves got him. I hope this doesn't become a trend. I hope he comes back really soon. Enzo and Cass. But Vaudevillains technically over Enzo and Cass, who advance on to face the New Day at Extreme Rules. And
let's also talk about this real quick, folks. The Vaudevillains definitely have themselves a real big shoes to fill in, because they were really relying on Big Cass and Enzo's mic skills to use in those 3 weeks to promo the hell out of this pay-per-view. That's going to happen in Extreme Rules. So we're hoping that the Vaudevillains are up for it. We know that they're not bad on the mic, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're the best in this situation for it. So we're hoping that's not the case here, and I really do hope for a really good match at Extreme Rules.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy that they're taking the Vaudevillains seriously. Like we've seen it before. We've seen them just like crap on a gimmick just because it's a little weird. It's what scares me about Bayley coming up. It's what worried me about Neville coming up. It's what worried me about the Ascension coming up. It's the exact thing I predicted would happen when Tyler Breeze came up. But apparently they're making it work, and they are selling these guys to the nines, and I am 100% for it.
Well, there is news that Triple H has given more influence in the situation now with Vince, that he's been a little bit more lenient. That's why Tyler's still now coming out with his mic again. That's why he has a little bit of a bump going on with him and this tag team duo thing that's going on with the love affair of Goldust and R-Truth. But we'll see. But can we talk about an amazing Fantasticals match that happened?
We can absolutely talk about an amazing Fantastical match that happened. And that, of course, would be Fight Owens Fight versus Sami and Zayn. And, oh my god.
That doesn't fit the description, my friend.
We expected a lot out of this match. We're not going to lie here.
This was a year in the making. That's the important thing to talk about here. This thing was so strong from the beginning. This match did not occur. The last time they really fought legitimately in their own very particular match was in NXT, and it was a takeover pay-per-view, and that was when Kevin Owens won the title, and he beat the living holy cock-craving Christ hell out of him. Yeah,
he did. I mean, granted, a lot of that was Sami giving him the rub because he was already injured, but without that, Kevin Owens would not be where he is right now.
Indeed.
And then they paid it off. Oh my god, I cannot say. If you watch any match out of the pay-per-views this year, this better be the first one. Better than anything that we got on WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And, we expected a lot, and they exceeded the expectations. Just every spot, and the almost falls, and just everything, just so crisp, so clean.
Even down to Michael Cole botching the crap out of moves. He called an insecurity driver the Blue Thunder Bomb because he pushed him up the same way.
Exactly. Well, you don't expect Michael Cole to have the technical know-how.
Yeah, like Morrow.
Exactly.
God
but
damn,
I mean,
can we put him on main roster announcing already?
Maybe. But I mean, and Kevin Owens pulls it out at the end, and
fantastically too. Not even cheaply.
Nope. He beat him legit, and then the real fun started.
Oh yeah. Because in-ring prowess.
Whoever thought it would be a good idea for Kevin Owens to just continue his feud with Byron Saxton in the middle of the ring, right after, was just so beautiful. Just him just bullying the crap out of Byron Saxton, and then he joined commentary.
That's the best part. But here's the thing: is it just me, or does Kevin Owens' persona, the way he talks, the way he becomes an ass in his in-ring skills on the mic, doesn't it sound like it's some Canadian who's got this suppressed rage because he was told that you're a Canadian, you're supposed to be nice, and he's like, no, eh? And he's like, and he comes out with even the way he talks doesn't sound like he's angry enough. He's like Canadian angry, and that's very rare.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I said this in chat, so I think you're going to know where I'm going with this. But I said in the moment when he was talking, and he did the commentary on the next match, which we'll get to in a second. But does it just sound like somebody went up to Kevin Owens and went, "You're never going to be as good as Shawn Michaels," and then he just, like Triple H in the Wrestling Isn't Wrestling movie, just lost his shit? I will fight you on the move!
You're talking about wrestling isn't wrestling.
I mean, that's exactly what he portrays. It's like somebody just went up to him and it's just like, you're never going to be as good as Sami Zayn. I will fight you anywhere. I will fight you on the moon. And
Oh, I gotta watch that again.
I just recently introduced a friend of mine to that, and apparently, like, she could not stop laughing at it. But we've talked at length about that.
Yes.
And KO joined the announce team. Thank God he actually managed to shut JBL up because he was doing more than enough heel commentating, which led into the next match, which was...
Is it just me though? Is it also Kevin Owens trying to be like The Rock was to Michael Cole or Kevin Kelly or whatever his name is?
I think it is, but The Rock...
He's like, because he was in the middle of one of the matches and he goes, "You shut up, Byron!" And he goes, "I'm not talking about you."
It's just hilarious to listen to him and the way he just picks away at Cole and Byron and just yells and demeans them. But that led into the next match, which was the IC title match. It was The Miz with Mrs. The Miz versus Agent 00 Cesaro. And I mean, the match was good. Like, I was really impressed with Miz.
I really didn't. I didn't see it coming. I thought Cesaro was gonna try to pull his weight around that ring. I was not expecting the Miz to be competitive at all. Like kept up with him, and holy crap, he did.
The Miz stepped it up, and Cesaro brought his A game, and it's good to see Cesaro getting. Oh yeah, man! When he took
those bumps.
When he took those like freaking just running uppercuts, Jesus.
Yeah, especially the ones outside the ring. Holy crap!
And maybe this is just what made it a little bit better. Was just Kevin Owens just needling and just yelling at Michael Cole and just like talking about, like, it always rounded around to he wanted to get his Intercontinental title back. He didn't care which one of them won the match, and he was better than Sami Zayn. But he did it, and even though he just went in those circles, it was hilarious to listen to him yell at Byron Saxton, who interrupted his celebration, quote unquote, when that wasn't the case. If you didn't see the pay-per-view, he basically just dragged Byron into the ring, demanded he do an interview right then and there.
And it wasn't the first time such great side ring stuff was going on. Besides the commentary, we totally forgot to discuss this, but the New Day was chilling in the corner.
Oh yeah,
it's the tag team match. And they were just eating popcorn. They were on their Samsung phones. They were doing all this shit.
They were taking video. And...
yeah, it was great. And it's just the whole night was just full of side ring fun. But I have to point out something real quick because it refreshed my memory when I thought about this because we were getting into how Kevin Owens was awesome on the side ring.
Mm-hmm.
How awkward did the New Day have to feel when the Enzo thing happened?
Oh, did you see them?
They were sitting in the corner like...
They were just their jaws were on the ground. They were just like sitting there like they didn't know what to do, and they stayed there.
They were like, "Crap, what do we do? What do we do?"
Because they were in full camera shot, and so they were just like they put their phones down and they're just like sitting there like they dropped character. But they were trying to stay away and let the peeps do what they needed to do. But going back into the match though. Towards the end game of the match, and I have to give kudos to the WWE, this sets up what is more likely than not going to be a match at the next pay-per-view just perfectly. Because in the middle of commentary, who comes out but Sami Zayn comes charging the ring and jumps Kevin Owens, like right there at the announce desk. And so you've got the match going on in the ring. You've got the brawl going on the outside of the ring. The brawl on the outside spills into the ring, distracts Cesaro. Miz just pulls just like the cheapest of cheap, tight pulling finishes on Cesaro. And then Cesaro gives the Dominator to Miz. Sami Zayn gets the hula kick on someone. Kevin Owens gives Sami Zayn another pop-up powerbomb.
Gives everybody a pop-up powerbomb.
He didn't give Miz because Mrs. The Miz pulled The Miz out before he could.
But the thing that was very, very toasty, which I have to believe gave nuclear heat to the crowd, was The Miz was tapping out to Cesaro's submission move.
Oh yeah.
When the ref got distracted with the whole Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fighting on the ring mat side.
Oh yeah.
Of the ropes. And it was just like, hey, stop fighting on my ring, yo. And while that's happening, Miz was like, "I'm done. I tap."
It's
And,
over, guys. Can I not be in pain?
Cesaro should have just kept it, and if he kept it and just stood there and waited for him to come back and say, "Oh, look, there's a match going on," he would have won. But
Well,
of course, this has to. I have to say, this is a pleasant disqualification match.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it wasn't really a disqualification, but it was a pleasant
it was a cheap finish, but
cheap finish that was pleasantly well deserved.
it fit right in, and it sets us up for what I have to believe is going to be the next pay-per-view match. It's not official yet, but I imagine that we're going to get an icy fatal four-way out of this. You know, Kevin Owens, yes please. Sami Zayn, yes please. Cesaro, yes please. The Miz, he's got Mrs. The Miz, so we'll let him come.
Well, you know what, Miz, people take Miz as a joke, but you know what? I have to say, he's one of the hardest working against the grain wrestlers I've seen.
He does.
He's got it against him, man. Nobody likes him because obviously he started with reality TV, and a lot of people have a bad rap for reality TV coming to things like this because people think that, oh, they didn't come here because they wanted to wrestle. It's their passion. It's because it's their only out they have left. But you know what? He pulled through. He even went through Tough Enough. He killed it. He did everything he could possibly can. He's been around for a while, so I'm gonna give it to the Miz and say he did his job and he's doing very well at it. He's also very good as an actor in general. That's why he's got a lot of the movie leads that the WWE wants out there. He's going to show it.
I just recently found out how the Miz ended up in the Marine movies.
Anal?
No. Apparently, Randy Orton was supposed to be the lead in the Marine 3, and the Marine Corps was like, "You really? You're going to put a guy who was dishonorably discharged as the Marine in a film called The Marine?" And then they're just like, "Did we say Randy Orton? No, this is the Miz. He's awesome."
Come on.
But yes, the Miz over Cesaro, bunch of setting up stuff. Can't be mad at it. Two really solid, great matches.
Here's a fun fact for you, though.
Oh, okay. Fun fact before we get to the next match.
For Mrs. Miz,
Maryse.
She has a leaked sex tape.
Dude, kids watch this show. We can't be announcing that.
Yeah, like that stops them from the curse words and all that. Come on now.
I know. I didn't know that, and
the big question is there's a mystery man in there who
looks
like a certain somebody.
No.
A certain wedding husband to be look. I'm not sure.
And we're moving on, folks. We're just moving straight on. Nope.
Conspiracy theorists will contend.
Nope.
Let's go on to.
Yeah.
Well, a cow in the zoo, kind of interesting.
Yeah, but it was still a great match. It was and it was Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho because reasons.
Because they needed a wife swap.
Well, no.
They were like, we can't do AJ Styles anymore.
Well, it wasn't because of reasons. It was because Dean Ambrose had stolen Jericho's talk show.
But he didn't steal it. Shane McMahon gave it to him.
And, like I predicted, that Jericho was going to do the job to Dean because Dean needs the rub after everything. I do like this reboot with Dean, and now we're getting him back on track. I like that Jericho is, doing the thing with him. It was a great match, and you can sit there and you can say what you want about Jericho, L'Oreal, but how many 45-year-old men do lion salts? Like, my dad doesn't do a lion salt. Does your dad do a lion salt? Like, is that just something that happens on a Saturday mornings? Like, Dad's like, I think I'm going to do a lion salt. Woo!
I think I'm going to do the code breaker.
Exactly. How many, I'm
going to take several bumps in a turn.
Exactly. I'm going to jump off the top rope and dump out into the, say what you want about Jericho. The man can wrestle, and the man does most of his moveset that he was doing in his 20s.
Yeah.
Very little that he's not doing anymore. He may be at a slower pace, but he's still doing it, and it was still damn
even once in a while, he does the springboard dropkick.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
he pulled that out twice, didn't he?
He did a couple times.
Yeah.
He does it. He does it more on the lower risk side, where it's like someone coming into the ring corner, and he'll do like a mid rope, springboard drop kick.
Hmm.
But it's still there. It's not like he's not doing anything like that. So it's impressive. It is.
I mean, it
He's not.
was.
I think the only thing that we don't see him do much anymore is running through the ropes, kind of dive.
Yeah.
And that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, it's those kind of things which cut Daniel Bryan's. Chris Jericho has been smart, and he has not filled up his bump card like some of these guys do these days. Not naming
He also did a lot of outside wrestling.
Yeah, he did.
Outside non-wrestling kind of things that also gave him a good drive. So yeah.
The ending part of this match where Dean was fighting for the dirty deeds.
Oh yeah.
And then finally forced it.
Dirty deeds.
I mean, that was beautiful. It was a wonderful match.
Fuck you in this move. Ah!
You are taking my finisher. Boom. And Dean Ambrose wins it over Chris Jericho. And we're going to be getting more of that.
In all the sexy ways.
But we'll get to that a little bit later.
Now, I purposely had you save it just for this because
Can I open this?
Even I cannot defend this match. It did so well. It did so well, Peyton State. It did so well. Why? Why did they have that ending? Why did they have to repeat WrestleMania but worse? Why? Why? And where the fuck is Sasha?
You guys know what's coming.
Give me my toilet.
You guys know what's coming on my end, So I'll just get it out of the way.
Jackie. Jackie. I want a nap now. I want a nap.
I'm gonna steal a line or paraphrase a line from Limited Series. Where the fuck do I start with this? The match was great. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes of the match was great.
Yeah.
I think Bret Hart. I think they carted him out, and I think he might have thought that it was pudding time at the old folks' home. He looked a little confused out there.
I think they had to drug him just for that bullshit ending.
I mean, they had to have told him the ending, and because there's no way. But
yeah, but then he said, "Well, we're going to give you a Xanax now, along with some Ritalin, and a Zoloft. You just go out there now, knowing that that's the answer. Because how the fuck does he agree to that? Tell me. There
has to be a plan in place at this point.
We're gonna jump ahead right now, and we're gonna tell you how the ending happened. So, of course, Charlotte versus, in this case, we're talking about Charlotte versus
Natalya.
Natalya, thanks. I was so angry about it. And here's the thing, folks. We had Bret Hart and Ric Flair out there. Of course, this was an NXT rematch pretty much from 2.5 years ago. But, it's pay-per-view style, so there's a lot of flair going on. No pun intended.
Woo!
Now, in this case, the match goes well. Heels trying to be the heels, face trying to be the faces, face ringside assistants trying to take off the heel ringside assistants. A lot of things were going on pretty well. And then, all of a sudden, a lot of red flags started happening. First things first, the referee, Charles Robinson.
Little Nate!
Little Nate. Now, we knew that there was something suspicious going on right there. But here's the thing that killed us the most, because I was all for the Little Nate route until they decided to do a Chicago screw job. In the middle of the match, Charlotte infamously gives the sharpshooter to the one and only Natty Hart.
Mm-hmm.
And
which, by the way, was the story of the match, was Natty trying to get that sharpshooter on,
yes.
and Charlotte countering it in every way she possibly could.
Yes. And, of course, the moment it happens, within only a few seconds into it, fucking Charlotte Robinson fucking throws the match, calls the bell, and puts Charlotte over the victory. What the fuck? To be very, very vulgar, whose sperm is in Charlotte Flair's fucking stomach right now for her to have that fucking story promoted?
It's not even that, because I don't even think that's her choice. That sounds like just somebody in creative's like, hey, it'd be really cool. I mean,
Very true.
I don't
Very
think
true.
I don't think that I don't think that was even. I can't even say that I think Charlotte would have wanted it that way. But I mean,
Fucking A, man.
like, what the hell? Like, our main gripe with the WrestleMania match was the ending. Wonderful match, beautiful match. The ending killed it. And our main complaint was from the last pay-per-view, was we gotta let Charlotte stand on her own as a heel. Rick has given her the rub. Okay, now Charlotte's got to show that she can be heel without Daddy. And nope. And that's not what we get. Silly us. And I'm also going to say this. As has been well recorded on this podcast, we are card-carrying members of the We Love Natty fan club. Oh my God. Did you see what she was wearing at the pay-per-view?
I got a gold membership.
I'm telling you right now. Natty, if you're listening to this, I know you're not, but if you're listening, if things don't work out with Tyson, call me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Strong chin and all. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. But at any rate, this should have been Sasha. That's where the money is. Why does the WWE do this? Why? I mean, it's just like, do they not understand that a Sasha versus Charlotte feud is money? Do they not understand that the NXT girls is where it's at, and they need to just forget about the current crop right now, because it's not happening? And this ending is just indicative. They give them the time to give a good match, and, all things being equal, I guess I should feel good about this. Because at least, they're treating the girls as equals, because they're giving the girls now the same shitty endings that they give the guys in some respects.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could have done better. You could have done so much better.
Now let's get into the facts of what happened in match. Not in match, after match, because obviously Natty was pissed. So,
Right.
Of course, they decided, well, if we're going to do the Chicago Screw job like we're doing, we might as well end it with an interesting twist. So, of course, Natty puts Flair in the, Charlotte in the sharpshooter like she wanted. But here's the interesting fact. Apparently, Ric Flair and Bret Hart agreed, yeah, let's put Ric Flair in the sharpshooter by Bret Hart. Here's the thing. Was it just me, and I keep saying this the whole night, but did it look like Bret Hart had no idea what's going on? Even worse than when he came out, because he tried to put a sharpshooter on an old man that wasn't turning too well, and they were like, "Oh, wait, there's a ring here. Let me turn it. Wait, flip over, Rick. Damn it!" Holy crap.
I don't know. I mean, Bret has had a stroke at this point. Rick has
cancer.
Rick is a cancer survivor. God bless him for that too. And Rick is
dinosaur.
He's a dinosaur. About a year ago, he had that really bad bacterial infection that almost killed him. Maybe not let them have in-ring spots. But, I have no doubt that this is going to lead to another Charlotte versus Natalya match. And I hope that the next one leads to Natalya having the new Women's Championship, because she deserves to have the Women's Championship on her resume. She does.
Very true. Very true.
But this started the spiral of suck. And we're not going to spend too much time on the next thing, which was the whole announcement, which was Vince McMahon was going to decide who runs Raw. Is it going to be Shane or is it going to be Stephanie? And if you said anything but both of them, you are wrong. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You are buying all the beers at the bar after we're finished with the podcast. You better be there waiting. I mean...
Better be there.
I'm just going to say this about it. It was a lot of buildup, and it was a lot of bluster, and it was a lot of talk for what we knew was going to happen, and it was kind of meh. I would just like to point out, we bumped a match to the pre-cook for this segment.
Well, you know how Vince McMahon is when he flares his feathers and all that stuff. He makes it as long as he wants. This is a 30-minute discussion for a 5-minute Raw recap.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like Vince should have just come out there, brought him out there, and it's like, all right, well, you're both running. Figure it out. And then just left and flipped everyone off. And
I'm still going to say this until this very day. Steph McMahon. If it doesn't work out for Triple H and you want to be his daddy, I'm your guy.
But that led us
I like some strong women's.
She's a tall woman too. She's like 5'11".
Tall has nothing to do with it. She's just so strong. Oh, I would love to get her yelled at me. Give me all tingly. Oh, Jackie, give me that number now.
Okay. Well, that leads us over to our main event, which was he's not a bad guy, he's not a good guy, he's just a guy. Are we really? Are we chilling on that? Are we chilling on that? Are we chilling on that catchphrase?
I want to know.
The Samoan.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's so awful.
Know that Kevin Dunn has been editing a lot. He's been using the crowds. Hell, he's even digitally editing signs now because of how much freaking Roman Reigns is hated. One of my favorite signs of all the times is when it rains, spelled like Roman Reigns' last name, it bores. Best sign ever. But you know what Kevin Dunn does? He leaves a half sign all wiped out and it says when it rains. That is it.
The Samoans, I've got a thing about that, which we'll get into in a second as soon as I get this intro out of the way. I haven't been drinking, folks. Anyway, the Samoan Superman, Roman Reigns, our WWE Heavyweight Champion of the World, versus the internet's favorite Lego man, AJ Styles, in the match that, oh my god, would never end. It would never freaking end. And we still knew it was all going to finish. Because if you thought AJ Styles was walking out with the belt, fuck you. But, yeah. I mean, they did what they could.
Right now, I'm telling you, it was a great match. It was a great match as far as its matches goes. But you know what? Many people were more... They knew that AJ was going to win, but they were more upset about what didn't happen after the match.
Well, here's the thing. They did what they could to get the desired result. And to that effect, they protected AJ a lot. Basically, match goes on. AJ manages to knock Roman loopy, gets into the ring, count out finish. Fans boo. Shane comes out. Nope. Restart the match, no countouts. Match goes on for a little bit more. Roman deliberately nut punches AJ. DQ. Fans boo. Stephanie comes out. Guess what? Now countouts and no DQs. And then all shit breaks loose. Usos get involved. Anderson and Gallows get involved. And it ends the way you think it's going to end, with Roman Reigns getting the fall that counts. I would just like to point out that AJ 2, Roman 1. And they're doing this thing where they don't want to push either of them heel. It looks like that's the way they're going to go with. They're going to go that way with AJ because the WWE doesn't have the balls to make Roman Reigns a freaking heel, and we will get into that later.
Down balls.
Exactly, they do not have. They don't have the stones to do that, but they're staying both in this kind of tweener area, and they're trying so hard to make freaking Roman like a face, and I'm calling it.
Any more baby face, and the man would be coming out of his mother's womb.
And the more they try it, the more the fans aren't getting behind it. And I mean, the match was great. It was basically AJ Styles carrying Roman and doing what AJ Styles does, making Roman look like $1 million freaking bucks. And the fans did not get what they wanted because they wanted AJ Styles world champion, which again, if you thought that was actually going to happen, well, sorry. You should know better by now. But
we're not even going to acknowledge you then.
But that brings us to the end of the pay-per-view and our letter grade. Despite all of my griping about the match, that ending felt strong, and it felt good. It was the ending I expected, but at least they did it in a way that they did it in a way that kept AJ intact and didn't make him look weak. I'll go B+. I'll go B+. The crap with Natalya and the bore fest that was the McMahon makes the decision, kicks it down a few notches, but still you had Owens and Zayn. You had the fun of Owens on commentary during the IC match. Ambrose and Jericho was great. I can't really count like the Enzo incident against them, and that U.S. title match was not bad. And I always laugh and take mirth in boring Corbin failing at life. What do you think?
I'm going to give it a B+.
So,
and mostly because of the fact that I hated that ending for the women's match. It really knocked it down a letter.
Mm-hmm. We're in complete agreement. B+ for both me and him.
Yeah.
And other than that,
scorecard, folks, because that's rare.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's really nothing else to talk about as far as the pay-per-view is concerned. Nope. So we're going to segue into break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about some developments over in NXT, just some quick ones, and touch upon it. And looking forward to the future. So we will see you after the break.
Enjoy the video, folks.
On behalf of Kane Snooker and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable, and Meechet for our closing theme, Picnic at the Reactor. This week, we are going to not do a remix, but we're going to play tribute to one of the fallen, China, and we are going to go ahead and play her theme for you. This is Who Am I? Enjoy.
Don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man. Don't treat me like you know me. Treat me for just who and what I am. Don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man. Don't treat me like you know me. Just treat me for who and what I am. Don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man. Don't treat me like you know me. So much more. So much more. So much more. So much more than that.
Welcome back. I'm your boy, Kami the Faded Saint. This is my boy, Kane Super What? Snuka.
What?
And we hope you enjoyed the break. And we've got a few things to talk about here in the second half here. There's a lot of ground to cover, and we don't really have we weren't really sponsored this week, so instead of saying, is brought to you this week by whomever, all I'm going to say is L'Oreal loves the J.
She is seriously going to deal with those death threats again.
Oh, no. She's got some questions for us, and she's trying to #hates the J. We know better.
So let's talk about NXTNA.
Yeah, well,
Because that is what it's like.
I mean, this seems like it's happening, which it surprised me. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but James Storm debuted, and I was really excited. And then apparently that was it. He went back to TNA, like right after.
Yeah, that was because it wasn't his bag, man.
Since then, no, they offered him a huge contract to come back. Because here was the problem.
It wasn't his bag.
Fair enough. Since then, we have had Samoa Joe show up. We have had Austin Aries has showed up. Bobby Roode was at the NXT TakeOver. Apparently last night, I haven't watched it yet, but last night, Eric Young, who is the poor man's Daniel Bryant, showed up. A lot of TNA talent is showing up in NXT. I mean, let's just forget the fact for a moment that TNA just got evicted from their Nashville headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not paying the rent.
TNA is a sinking ship right now, and they
better be just like the Wall Street peoples, and they better merge shit. I bet RH has got to buy out TNA, man, or they're gonna see nothing.
And I find it weird because TNA is the one place that WWE will not mention.
Oh yeah.
They will mention Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Jarrett. They've mentioned Global Force Wrestling, like in passing. They've shown Ring of Honor footage and New Japan footage, but they have not mentioned TNA. When they did the CM Punk thing, CM Punk was in TNA for a little while, and they just mentioned in his autobiography video thing that he just was working on Wednesdays in Nashville. And that was the only mention they had of TNA, even though that was a significant chunk of his career.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, there's also a pattern here. If you noticed, that if you came from Global Force, or if you came from New Japan, you went main roster sign-in. Most of the time. Not all the time, but a good chunk. Like, for example, AJ Styles. But I have not seen a single TNA, or Bullet Club, yeah. I have not seen a single TNA up-and-comer go right to the roster. They always go to NXT.
And that's what kind of surprised me about Samoa Joe being there. Which, by the way, as of this podcast, Samoa Joe is now the champion. And there are rumors that Finn Balor is going to be coming up. And
that's why we were disappointed with the ending of Payback.
Yeah. But I'll say this much. I've heard rumors that we're going to get like an AJ Styles, that either if AJ Styles doesn't turn heel, then Anderson and Gallows is going to team up with a heel Finn Balor, and they're going to form Balor Club.
Oh yeah,
I am down for this.
Yes.
But I mean, really, is it just me, or does it feel like that? The WWE is like, oh, you've had this talent for years. Oh, that's great. That's good. Let us show you how to really use them, guys. Which is a shame, because TNA was a good product at one point. And
it was a rivaling product.
It was getting up there, and they had some ways to go, but they had one thing that WWE did not. Really great wrestling. WWE had the money. TNA had really great wrestling, and then they decided to go they decided to be WWE Light at some point, and I don't ever get what happened with that. And it was just weird. But I mean, a lot of TNA talents are coming up to NXT. NXT has been really great lately, like especially with American Alpha as their tag team champions.
Oh God, yes.
Can we just get them to the main roster right now?
No. I want them to simmer and serenade in the juices of what's going on right now with TNA because I want the main roster. I'll give you that, but let them enjoy the shit out of being the most fantastic tag team ever with the most favorite tag team belts. I like to watch.
I will tell you right now, with no hyperbole, if they brought American Alpha up to the main roster and they just had them like beat everyone, like just annihilate the tag team division, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Do it.
And you know what? I would jizz all over the walls if that happens when on the days that this occurs that they talk about how they got all their inspiration from the one and only and all of a sudden his music hits.
Oh, that would be great if they
And
could
it's
get Kurt
Kurt
Angle.
Angle.
I mean, Kurt Angle's not doing
my
anything
God.
right now. I'm
He's
just
enjoying
saying.
retirement.
I'm just saying. WWE. Kurt Angle has said that if he could get a part-time schedule, he would love to do one last run with you guys. I know that there are some things there, but it's true. It's true. But enough with the NXT talk. Let's talk about Raw. Let's talk about what's being developed for the next pay-per-view. And right off the bat, at the beginning of Raw, we got the New Day. They gave us basically what was going on at the last pay-per-view, gave us an update on Enzo, and also announced to us, because it wasn't made very clear at the pay-per-view, that the Vaudevillains had been awarded the match, and that they were now... Yeah, we had no idea at the time. We were just worried about Enzo, and they didn't mention it at any point. We just knew that the match was thrown out. That the Vaudevillains were going to be the guys that would take them on. And cue the music. Vaudevillains come out, and I have to say, they came out, and they just jumped on that shit. They sat there, and they're like, yeah, well, you know what? This is a manly sport, and yeah, apparently Enzo wasn't manly enough. And just Simon Gotch sitting there is like, hey, Enzo, how you doing? And it was great heel heat. And I enjoy heel Vaudevillains. I think that's where they naturally are at. And Simon, is it just me or... I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but is it just me or does Simon Gotch look like he's a pedophile or something like that? Like, he looks like...
God, it's because his mustache.
It's not just that. It's just like his mannerisms. Like when he was like grinning when Aiden English was like doing the opening part of their promo. Like he was just like snickering to himself. Like he is a creepy looking dude. Like
it's mostly because of that mustache.
Like he's also a pop culture aficionado. I follow him on Twitter, and he is a fun guy to follow on Twitter. But at the same time, he is a creepy looking dude when he wants to be. But nevertheless, like, and then the Duds came out, and then Cass came out. We got a great 8-man tag to start off Raw.
Well, we also really thought that when we heard Big Cass and Enzo's music coming out, that we thought, oh crap, guess who?
I didn't think he was coming.
Fully.
I didn't think that.
I thought so.
I didn't think that, but just because of the severity of it. When their music hit, I was like, there's no way in hell they're letting Enzo out with as serious as great as a concussion that he got. But they did what they did, and it was really cool to see like Cass and the New Day like doing the New Day stick. And
what I did like is I also liked how Cass can do his own without Enzo.
Yeah.
When it comes to like mic feeding, because usually one's not good with mic, one is. That's why you usually hear Bubba Ray over Devon most of the time. That's why you hear even though the New Day, they equally all are good at what they're doing with that. You can hear that. You can clearly see why Big E's less on the mic than the other two are. I mean, not that Kofi Kingston.
Right.
Is less on the mic than the other two are. It's just it really depends on their situation, and it's good to see that Cass is not that.
Oh no, exactly. I'm totally 100% with you there. But that's bringing us to the New Day versus the Vaudevillains at the next pay-per-view. And if the Vaudevillains can keep their heat up, and I mean, I guess they were kind of handed a gift in what happened with Enzo because they can ride that into heat. And if they can get a couple of cheap shots on the New Day, I think it's going to be a match. Like, I'm already a fan of the Vaudevillain style, but at the same time, I also think the Vaudevillains can carry this. I'm with you. I think that Cass and Enzo were supposed to get this. But
obviously.
But I do think that this may tell a better story. And
Well,
maybe
I always find that under pressure, the writers get better. They do better in their job role.
usually
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Look what happened when with Seth Rollins. You know, a great example when Seth Rollins got hurt. The Survivor Series tournament occurred. I mean, of course, we all know that Roman Reigns was going to win that, but it was still an exciting ride out.
Yeah, and when John Cena got hurt, we got Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And we got to see for the first time ever The Undertaker noping the fuck out of somewhere.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't? So
he noped the fuck so hard off of that table.
His expression was so good after that when you looked at the camera.
I'm gonna see if I can't dig up that picture again, just to put it right here. But at any rate, I mean, it looks like it's gonna be a really good match. I hope. It remains to be seen. But the Vaudevillains have got to keep up their heat. But I mean, they're going up against the New Day. Even if the Vaudevillains don't, the New Day can carry them.
I do like how they're parodying whoever is like for example, when the New Day goes WWE Tag Team Champions, then the Vaudevillains go WWE. Yeah, I thought that was funny, and of course, when Big Cat's doing "How you doing," he goes, "How are you doing?" It's just.
But it's very manly.
It's a very fun spin out of the characteristics that you can play into this.
Right.
Like what happens if they verse the Dudley Boys? Do they go? Do they say? Devon, get thy tables or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was something like that.
Thy wood calamities. Something like that.
I was watching it in and out because I had it playing in the background because I was at work. But at any rate, but that also leads us to, like we were talking about before, 4-way IC match. There was some more chicanery going on. What was the match? Was it Cesaro and Zayn, or was it Sami Zayn and Miz, or was it KO and Cesaro? It was KO and Cesaro.
Yeah.
And then everyone else got involved.
Or a chance at the IC belt again.
Right, and then everyone else got involved, and it devoured into a cluster frack.
Another clusterfuck, yeah.
Yeah, and it ended very reminiscent of the night before. But again, I can't be mad at it. Because once again, misses the Miz, pulls the Miz out of harm's way. This time it was Sami Zayn, I believe, who was standing tall at the end of the match. And really and totally, it was. I'm loving the setup. The Miz surprised me. He came to play. I'll say that much. He did.
That's the price to pay.
And Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Why, yes, please. I will take that. I feel
more cheeseburger.
I feel bad for Miz because he is, even as well as he did, he is still the odd man out of this, because you could watch those three wrestle and just Miz just stand in the corner and let one of them win. And you would totally buy that, because you can buy the Miz saying it's I've been stepping up my game, but I'm not over there. But the Miz's true draws and his grating personality. He plays such a great heel. I never bought into face Miz.
I don't think there's been a face Miz in a while.
Not since before Damien Mizdow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm looking forward to the 4-way IC match. I mean, I kind of feel like the correct ending is Cesaro, but I can see it going to anyone but The Miz.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for God's sakes, did Cesaro ever win the U.S. title? That was a big question. I thought he only had the tag titles. I feel like there was a situation.
Yes. I want to say he's had the U.S. title for a short amount of time.
Because if it isn't, then God damn it, can someone give Cesaro a singles title for once?
I mean, it's not like you guys care about the U.S. title, and we'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But, I mean, this is looking good, and I'm looking forward to this match at the next pay-per-view, which is, by the way, only in 3 weeks. So, just programming note, you guys might be getting a super show after the next 2 pay-per-views, which depends on how everything pans out. Because it's gonna mostly depend on how good Extreme Rules is and whether it warrants its own show.
Well, I got some serious predictions on what's going to go on with what's based on what's going on with the the number one contendership for the U.S. title.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a second because we've got to talk about one of the things that surprised me was that apparently the Jericho Dean Ambrose program isn't done. Apparently we're going to get more of that because Dean Ambrose came out, he interviewed Stephanie McMahon, and then Jericho came out, beat him up, and then broke his potted plant over the back of his head.
Not cool, bro. Not cool.
Not cool at all, but I'll take another Jericho Dean Ambrose match at Extreme Rules.
Why not? We got 3 AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho's.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, I will also take it. I will crack open a happy beer for this. And yep, there we go. All right, yeah. I'm gonna have to get that later. Anyway, I mean, get some
cat for the play toy.
Get some Extreme Rules, some crazy rules going on in there because it is Extreme Rules, and I think we could have like a really fun match between the two of them, and I'm for it. As long as we are building towards Dean getting into that main event level, I am for this 100%.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's not really much to say about it, but I mean,
it's stoked if it happens.
But exactly, and we'll move right along into the next thing. And that is, so they had a battle royal to decide the number.
So they had this match.
They had a battle royal for the number one contendership for the U.S. title because now it's important, I guess.
Important-ish.
And Rusev won. Okay.
I got something on that.
So
I've been keeping this close to the chest. I didn't say this to you at all, but I have a good feeling why you became U.S. champion.
Oh.
I mean, U.S. number one contender.
Well, I'll get you that, but I mean, we know for definite we are going to get Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Russell for the U.S. title at the next pay-per-view.
Yep. I know why.
Oh God, why?
Because Rusev's gonna win. And guess who comes back during the exact same time as Extreme Rules?
Oh, fuck!
You can't see him.
You know what? I'm done. I'm done.
Folks, if you're not watching this, Faded Satan has left. He left as a rage quit, but I think he's coming back.
I just realized I can't be done. I'm contractually obligated to do this.
With what? Crayons? And a piece of paper that says, I do podcasts?
Yes.
I do. Oh my God.
I do podcasts. God damn it! I had forgotten that! Damn it!
Yep. What better the way to redeem the Holy One?
So he's gonna get Rusev? Rusev is gonna get Rusev again?
Get re-roost.
He's gonna get re-Rusev.
Re-roost.
How do you get re-Rusev?
Only
He's just now recovering from the Rusevine he got the first time.
Yeah.
Ah.
He's gonna be declassified Roost.
Oh God, that makes me so angry.
Feel the hate flowing through you.
Oh God, I have so much rage. I've lost feeling in my legs. My fingers are tingling. I think I'm having a stroke.
That's my prediction. We'll find out.
Well, no, that makes exact sense. Let's move on. Let's move on before before I have an aneurysm. So, who has Becky Lynch made angry?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just letting you know right now, I think we just went off script because Faded Satan is not even talking anymore. He's scrambling through papers. I think I just broke him. I think I broke him. I think I seen it Rusev'd him. So much that I think I broke kayfabe.
Okay. All right. Now, back on track. Okay. Well, fuck that. Yeah, whatever.
I literally just told them there's no Santa Claus, folks. That is the reaction that I just got from him. Color commentary here. I'm just letting you know that he is actually downing the entire bottle that he opened up just for the discussion.
Oh God, it burns.
Feel the burn.
You're gonna have to start off the next section. I need to collect myself.
Well, we already know what's going on here, and that is what in God's green earth did Becky Lynch do to deserve Dame Dolph Ziggler's issue right now? Now, the one thing I have to say, folks, as far as women go, the women's division wise, I actually enjoy Emma, and I thought it was great that now she's on the main roster again. And I say again because she was on the main roster before she went back to NXT to bring herself back up to gear. So she's doing this whole Johnny Cage evil-looking Australian look. Works it pretty well. But let's face it, Becky Lynch is now the new jobber of the women's division. So, yeah, about that.
I thought that was Alicia Fox or Tamina or
Alicia Fox
Naomi.
is now worse than that. She is the dark match only women's wrestler now.
I don't see why. She's so good, and yeah, she can make anybody look like $1 million. But I mean,
all the women wrestlers do great. But you know what? Unless it's the women's match for the women's title, it's usually so hard to be like involved or immersed in a women's match. It's not their fault. It's just how the mentality went for years at WWE. So it's just hard. Where the fuck's Sasha?
we know she was at the pay-per-view because she was talking to Shane, but
yeah.
Once again, I don't understand how they don't understand that
their best wrestlers were used for those promos, by the way.
And they're just hanging out, I guess.
Because let's talk about Apollo Crews for a minute, man. He is brawlic, beastly, amazing.
He is. He absolutely is. And I don't get it. I don't get why they are not. They don't understand that Sasha is the money here. Sasha is the money. She is. And there's not even like they're doing and it's not like they're even doing like a slow burn for her getting up to the title. I don't know what they're doing here. The money match is Sasha versus Charlotte. It is. It is. And they need to realize it, and I don't get why are they fucking around with us? They need to stop it. 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 But on the bright side, to the whole poor Dame Dolph Ziggler, hooray, Emma's back.
Like I said, amazing wrestler. I loved her when she was out there originally, when she was doing the weird hands thing. And
I'm Emma dancing. But yeah. I like heel Emma a lot better.
Heel Emma, I call her Johnny Cage Emma, because that's what she reminds you of.
What's up with those finger gloves, though? I don't get that.
I don't know. It's a cool look. I like them. Makes her look interesting. I just don't like that stripper fucking pose that she puts. You know, when her beat drops.
It doesn't look right
that.
without Dana Brooks there.
Yeah.
To mirror it.
Speaking of which, poor Dana Brooks. She must be all alone right now in NXT.
Poor Camilla. She's all alone. Her boys got called up and she didn't.
Yeah, Carmella's still getting some good hype right now.
Oh, that's good.
She got no hype, yo.
I didn't put this on the list, but we might as well briefly touch upon the promo with Charlotte and Natalya. And I'll own up right now. I was busy when the promo was going on, so I didn't hear it. I just saw it was going on. Okay, so we don't have to say anything about it. It sucked. It's probably leading to Natalya versus Charlotte too. And the only thing I have to say about that is freaking Natalya better win.
Yeah. She better be the one that actually takes it over.
Right. Charlotte. Or what's the point?
Or we riot.
And that finally brings us to the main event. And the main event of Raw was AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson versus the Usos and Roman Reigns. And
AJ Nipples.
I guess. And I know they did the match again tonight on SmackDown.
You mean Thursday Night Raw recap?
Yeah. But here's the thing. We know where this is probably going. This is probably going with AJ Styles being a heel, or Finn Balor coming out as a heel and taking over Carl Anderson. But this is just a vehicle for them to get Roman where he needs to be. And this actually leads into our first question that we had gotten over Twitter.
This question, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a question. It's really nice. And the question goes, why doesn't WWE see that turning Roman Reigns heel might save him? It's kind of sad to watch. Yeah, it is. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The E does not have the balls. They do not have the stones. They do not have the testicular fortitude to make Roman a heel. Because they want Roman to be Insta-Cena. They're trying to turn him into John Cena. And they've just kind of forgotten the fact. WWE, have you just forgotten the prototype? Did you forget that guy? I didn't. He's the guy that almost beat Kurt Angle in his debut. Came this close. He was the guy in those god-awful neon purple and yellow tights. Do you remember the Doctor of Thugonomics? I remember him, and that's arguably what put John Cena on the map. And then he organically became a face. And then you shoved him down our throats, and now I hope he dies in a fire. Not really, but really.
Close enough.
Do you not forget that The Rock's cousin, Roman's cousin, The Rock, you tried to force down our throats? You tried to sit there and make him a face when we didn't want him to be a face, and we didn't like him as a face, and we didn't buy him as a face. And then he went heel, and then he exploded. And then the fans loved him, and he organically went face. You can't make this happen. And you need to stop.
Some of the greatest wrestlers of all time jumped from good to heel, sometimes back. Just like you mentioned a few names already. I'll give a couple more. Triple H, Hulk Hogan,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Daniel Bryan.
The nose.
CM Punk.
Yep. All these great changes.
Shawn Michaels.
And the super faces, they die quick. They phase out. Now, let's also look at this. If Roman Reigns wasn't the height he was, or the build he was, or the family he came from, where would he be right now? Probably got released when Florida Championship Wrestling became NXT. I'm just saying. So.
They are in love with his look.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's a pretty boy.
He is. And that is Roman's... That is Roman's...
Post me up right now with this picture of Roman Reigns in your face. Look at him. Look at that face. That is a face that you take home to mama. You just don't give him the 3 count for the World Championship title. That's all we're saying.
Exactly. And that's just it. Roman has a great look that they are in love with. And that's all that matters to them. And they're pushing him to the stars, and they don't really know how to... There's going to come a point where they're either going to be forced to turn him heel because nothing has worked, or his D-push is going to be so quick, it's going to be like hitting a motherfucking brick wall at 90 miles per hour. Because there was another guy who they tried to push to the stars as a super heel, or a super face. His name was Lex Luger. And that didn't work out very well for him.
No, it didn't.
And they've tried to push many a guys with the look over the years. And it just hasn't worked. And it's not going to work.
Even Hulk Hogan, he was super face in the WWE, and he started to have a decline in likability. And even when WCW, when he came over and he jumped into deeper super face, his likability was still being decredited. And then when he became heel, that's when shit blew up. I mean, you get the greatest, most iconic man of the 80s to join a heel faction in the middle of a war between two big wrestling companies, you strike gold. You strike gold hard.
But I mean, that's leading us into, and we knew this before the end of the pay-per-view. This is leading us into AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Heavyweight Championship of the World. Extreme
One more
Rules.
time.
And
Mm,
I want to believe that AJ is going to win.
nope.
No,
Nope.
they're not going to. They don't have the balls to do that.
Though I do have some title predictions.
Okay, well, let's lay them on it. We have one other question, and we can do some predictions as well. Which would you want to do first?
Let's go ahead with that question. I like how we got two.
Well, our other question of the night is: how do you see the Shane Stephanie angle going? Is it a smokescreen to boost ratings?
Of course it is.
I could have done without it. Let me put it to you like this: if we had not had to have put up with the Authority for the last 3 years, it would be a hell of a lot more interesting than it is now. But the Authority needs to go away now. It's run its course.
It's not really the Authority, though. It's just Stephanie versus Shane. There's a
But
difference
it
between
is.
Authority versus Stephanie versus Shane. If Triple H came out of nowhere and started being a shit, which, by the way, I have no idea what happened. He just speared into oblivion? What's going on with Triple H?
He's still wrestling on special house shows. He's keeping in shape because apparently this is eventually going to lead possibly around SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Shane versus Trips for control of Raw.
Fine, I'm cool with that too, bro. But I can tell you this much right now. What in God's green earth does he need to get in shape with? The man has been beyond in shape since his conception of Triple H as
There's in shape and then there's in ring shape, and there's a lot of difference between it.
Yeah, but Triple H has got in ring shape too. Come on.
Maybe
man,
not.
The man has a ring in his own house. If
He's keeping the ring rust off, is what he's doing.
Pretty much.
You know what? And that's cool. It's a smokescreen. I don't even think it's to boost ratings. I think it's just because they want to. I don't really know what they want to do. I mean, I'm not really sure of what Shane's status is. Like, is he back? Or is he still doing his other company and he's just, moonlighting over here?
I don't know. He's not CEO, I know that.
Well, no, he's not CEO, but if he's going to actually be an active part of the product, which I'm all for, I'm 100% for, the product was much better after with Shane McMahon in it. When Shane left, there was a notable dip in it, and I don't think the Trips is bad, but I think Shane always kept the product fresh. And I think Stephanie has good business acumen, but maybe not the best for the actual wrestling part of it. I think Trips is a wrestling encyclopedia. I think Shane has the business acumen and has the know-how of how wrestling should work as well. And I think the three of them together, behind the scenes now, we're talking off character, in the back, doing their thing. I think the three of them could bring it back to prominence. But, as far as the storyline goes, yeah. If this ends with anything other than Shane taking control, I can leave it. You have anything to add to that?
I do have some predictions, like I talked about.
All right, well, let's get to predictions.
Yeah, because I'm past the McMahon story. We'll just let that go.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's what I'm thinking: U.S. title gets a change. We're gonna get that Rusev title shot. We're gonna get that Rusev title win, and we're gonna get that damn Super Cena situation again.
See, now that you've brought that up, I am in complete agreement with you. I thought they were gonna we were gonna get a resurgence of Rusev, the monster, and God damn it, now we're not.
Nope, just feeding them to the guppies. Tag team titles are going to be retained. They're not going to give it to the Vaudevillains.
I think they are.
Nope.
I think
they wait until Enzo and Cass get back on the game, and then they'll beam out.
I think they are just to give some of the NXT talent rub, because the NXT talent has been kind of discouraged with the way that they've been treated when they get rostered up. So I think they give it to the Vaudevillains as a show of good faith, if anything else. We'll see how it goes, though. I've thought that before, but the New Day proves to be the tour de force.
The Intercontinental title will go to Sami Zayn.
I'm gonna say it's gonna go to Cesaro.
I'm on Team Sammy. We'll find out. And of course, no change for the world title, but we will have a better, more productive club membership at the end of that.
Someone's gonna be heel after this pay-per-view.
Someone's gonna have a club membership.
You think we're going Balor Club?
They better. That's not even like I hope so. They fucking better.
We'll see. I'm not sure if I want that to happen. That's the rumor, but I don't think.
Well, WWE is gonna owe us money if these things come true.
Okay. Well, you guys at home keep track of that. And with that said, I think that's gonna wrap us up. I don't think we have like any really long, like winded soliloquy at the end to like bitch and be angry.
We went straight for the predictions. We said our gripes with everything, including the Chicago screw job.
Yeah, that's pretty much straightforward. And so we are going to go ahead and thank, once again, bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable. Thank me, Chet, for our closing theme, Picnic at the Reactor, which is the closing theme for everything here at Faded Saint Presents. If you would like to ask us a question, if you'd like to give us a comment, if you would like to just say anything, comment on the video below, subscribe, like. We always like those things as well. And you can also...
Good for us.
Exactly. And you can also get a hold of us at Faded Saint on the Twitter, commysite.tumblr.com. Drop me a note. Say hi. I like to say hi back. How you doing? How you doing?
How are you doing?
And that's going to bring us to a close. And so, I'm your boy, Commie the Faded Saint. That's my boy, Kane Super What? Snooka. Saying we'll see you on the next podcast.